Shirts and skins is what they're doing in that way.
I just totally 100% object to this. And if I was the GM or coach,
Me too.
I would never let one of my players walk out on the floor looking like this. I mean, we are a professional NBA league.
Is Isiah Thomas spitting or tripping saying LeBron's shirtless pregame warm-up was unprofessional?
That's the problem with the old heads.
Isiah Thomas recently took aim at LeBron James supporters when he said, "The GOAT debate has become a complete joke." It felt like the basketball world paused for a moment. This wasn't a random commentator trying to grab attention. It was Isiah Thomas, someone who battled through one of basketball's toughest eras, criticizing not just one player, but the entire way people judge greatness. Whether you agree with him or not, the way he delivered his point made a strong impact. What many people aren't discussing is that Isiah didn't suddenly decide to call out LeBron fans. This frustration has been building for years. The constant comparisons, the never-ending debates, and the way every game is treated as proof either for or against LeBron's legacy have only added to it. For someone like Isiah, there comes a point where it no longer feels like genuine basketball analysis and starts sounding like endless noise. In Isiah Thomas's view, that's exactly what's happened.
Isiah Thomas is 100% right. It's just a bad example to use. Because you see, contrary to what some of you trolls out there want to instigate and fabricate and start up.
Now think about where Isiah comes from. He is a player who had to battle through Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird just to survive in the league, let alone dominate it. Back then, greatness wasn't debated on Twitter every single night. It was decided through physical battles, playoff series, and moments where one game could define your entire career. So when Isiah looks at today's debates, where fans argue using clips, stats, and narratives that change from week to week, it probably feels to him like the conversation has lost its foundation. This is where things become dangerous. When a legend says the GOAT debate is a joke, fans don't hear the nuance. They hear disrespect. That is especially true for LeBron fans. And let's be honest, LeBron has one of the most passionate fan bases in sports history. They've watched him dominate for more than 2 decades, break records, lead teams, and redefine longevity. So when someone questioned the conversation surrounding him, it immediately feels like a personal attack. But Isiah's point wasn't only about LeBron. It was about the way people talk about greatness. Today, the GOAT debate isn't just a discussion. It's a cycle. One game, one stat, or one highlight is enough to change the narrative. LeBron scores 40 points, and people call him the undisputed GOAT. He has a rough game, and the conversation immediately shifts back to Michael Jordan. It feels like the debate never really moves forward.
Professionalism in our NBA league has diminished so much.
Here's the part that nobody is talking about. The GOAT debate has become more about winning arguments than understanding greatness. People choose a side, and once they do, they defend it no matter what. Context gets ignored, different eras get overlooked, and the conversation becomes less about basketball and more about proving who's right. This is where young players often make a mistake. They begin chasing comparisons instead of building their own identity. Every rising star gets called the next Michael Jordan or the next LeBron James, and that kind of pressure can be overwhelming. But the truth is, greatness doesn't come from copying someone else. It comes from creating your own path. LeBron didn't become LeBron by trying to be Jordan. He became LeBron by doing things nobody had seen before.
LeBron James is usually dressed up. LeBron James carries the mantle and conducts himself with the proper level of decorum and professionalism. Media interviews, post games, availability, stuff like that. LeBron James shows up. Big events representing the NBA brand. It's LeBron James you lean on.
Now, let's talk about LeBron's legacy because this is an important part of the conversation. No matter what Isiah says, LeBron's resume speaks for itself. He has won championships with multiple teams, reached the NBA Finals across different eras, and set records that could stand for a very long time. He has also adjusted his game over the years while continuing to perform at an elite level. Those accomplishments can't simply be ignored. But this is where the difference in perspective comes in. For players like Isiah, greatness isn't measured only by numbers. It's also about presence. It's about the fear you created in your opponents every time you stepped onto the court. That's something that's much harder to measure. It isn't captured on a stat sheet, and it can't be fully shown in a highlight reel.
They showing up the earliest 6 o'clock to a 7:30 game. When LeBron or Kobe came to arena, it's just them. Yeah, right. There's no one actually in the gym but you.
I mean, he was really kind of at the height of professionalism, going there so early and
That's what I'm saying. Like, did you ever go to the gym at 2 o'clock? No, they ain't.
This is where things become complicated because once you start comparing different eras, you're comparing completely different versions of the game. The rules were different. The styles of play were different, and the level of physicality was different. The NBA that Isiah Thomas played in is not the same NBA that LeBron James dominates today. So when fans try to make direct comparisons, the discussion often turns into an argument without a clear answer. Here's the part nobody is talking about. Even basketball legends don't always agree on who the GOAT is. Some choose Michael Jordan, some choose LeBron James, and others bring up completely different names. That's because greatness is subjective. It depends on what each person values, whether it's championships, longevity, skill, or overall impact. Different people value different things, which is why the debate never truly ends. But Isiah's frustration isn't about people disagreeing. It's about the way the debate is handled. What bothers him is a lack of depth. The way fans reduce long and complex careers into simple arguments, and the way they ignore context just to win a debate. This is where young players often make a mistake. They think greatness can be defined by one single measure, but it isn't that simple. It's a combination of talent, work ethic, impact, defining moments, and even then, it's still open to interpretation.
Look, I like LeBron, I'm a fan of his, so forth and so on. But to walk out on the floor before a game with no shirt on and shoot, I mean, come on, man, where we at?
Now, let's bring the focus back to the fans, because that's who Isiah was really addressing. LeBron fans are extremely loyal, and they've had plenty of reasons to support him. But sometimes that loyalty turns into defensiveness. When someone like Isiah Thomas challenges a narrative, it naturally sparks a strong reaction. The truth is, debate has always been part of sports. That's what makes these conversations interesting. The problem isn't that people disagree. The problem is the way they disagree. When a discussion becomes more about tearing down other players and appreciating greatness, it starts to lose its value. This is where things become a concern once again. If the GOAT debate keeps heading in this direction, it could eventually lose its meaning altogether. Instead of being a conversation about greatness, it turns into background noise. And when that happens, even the legends stop paying attention. Using one incident to describe someone's entire career would be unfair. But if you're talking about a specific moment, like Isiah Thomas did, then it's a fair topic to discuss. Here's the part nobody is talking about. Isiah Thomas may actually be helping the GOAT debate by speaking up. Sometimes it takes someone outside the current narrative to point out what's gone wrong. Whether you agree with him or not, he's making people think about the way they approach the conversation. So what does this mean for LeBron's legacy? In reality, nothing changes. LeBron remains one of the greatest players ever to play the game. That's not what Isiah is questioning. What he's questioning is the way people talk about that greatness, the way they compare it, and the way they try to rank it. Maybe that's the real takeaway. At some point, you have to ask yourself whether we're truly appreciating greatness or simply arguing about it. This is where young players often make the same mistake. They believe the goal is to be called the GOAT, but the real goal is to build a legacy that speaks for itself. Championships, records, and unforgettable moments are what truly matter. The debates will always come and go. That leads to the bigger picture. The GOAT debate isn't only about Michael Jordan or LeBron James. It's about how fans define greatness, what they value, and how they choose to remember the game. If those conversations become too toxic or too shallow, something important gets lost. So when Isiah Thomas says the GOAT debate is a joke, maybe he isn't trying to disrespect LeBron. Maybe he's saying the conversation itself can be better. I'll leave you with this. If a legend like Isiah Thomas is calling out the entire conversation, does it mean LeBron fans are taking things too far? Or does it mean the GOAT debate itself has gone off the rails? Because at this point, the question isn't only who the greatest player is. It's whether we still know how to recognize greatness when we see it.